on the Chicago Cubs central aspect of things. Antonio, Pacman, hey, the Cubs have emerged as players in the Shohei Ohtani sweepstakes if he does hit the big market. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to talk about that real quick right after the intro.
Welcome to the number one place for all Chicago baseball. Let's start the show.
Pac-Man, Shohei Ohtani so raw. My wife don't even watch baseball, and she's like, "Ooh, who is that?"
Well, Otani, he's the next big thing. He's the next face of baseball. He's really great for baseball because he put shedding a light on like the international side of baseball. Really came into play because of the WBC in 2017, which led to him being signed. He had a lore around him, so he's just one of those guys, one of those generational talents. Matter of fact, he's not even a generational talent. He's really a sports shifter. You're just one of those people that you can like throw that name up there with like a Michael Jordan, a Shaquille O'Neal, so one of those guys that's come in and just do something the game haven't seen in a century.
Yeah, like he's definitely one of one. And for those who don't know, the WBC is the World Baseball Classic. It's like the Olympic for baseball. Like that's the best way I can come out. It's the Olympics for baseball. It's the World Cup for baseball.
Yeah.
And it's dope though. It's dope because this year, more than any other World Baseball Classic, was very entertaining, in my opinion. It was very entertaining, and it came down to, and you knew it was going to happen. It was almost U.S. versus Mexico that was going to send things up. Boy, if that happened,
Right.
woo, if that happened. But it turned out to be the United States versus the Japan, and Japan came out on top. And of course, it was Ohtani versus his teammate Mike Trout for the last out. So it was a crazy situation. I enjoyed every moment of it. But now it's come out that Ohtani, and you're right, he's definitely a person that shifts the paradigm of a sport. Kind of like how Mike Vick did when he first came to the Falcons, or we can go all the way back to Babe Ruth, who did kind of what Ohtani's doing today, pitching and hitting.
Mm-hmm.
And the Cubs have emerged as a player, and I believe the Cubs got somebody on their squad that can kind of help him decide whether he want to come to the Cubs or not.
Well, the Cubs actually got a couple of players out there that's in Japan. Like, if you're a Cubs fan, you know about Kosuke Fukudomi, who was doing the early championship team, not championship team, but the first iteration of the playoff in 2007. He was on that team. He had an actually pretty solid career here, even though he didn't, bring over that big bat that he was known for in Japan and all those home runs. And, but he did have a really solid career. Albert was really short, but he's on the ground in Japan. He kind of out there that can help in the recruiting efforts. We got Seiya Suzuki, the current 2022 signing over from Japan that was helped by Yu Darvish to come over to the Cubs. So the Cubs, I mean, I depend if it goes down to the San Diego on the Cubs. I hope he picked the Cubs, but Yu Darvish spoke a lot of great things about the Cubs and made it a destination for international players because geologically, Chicago, even if it's a White Sox or the Cubs, it's not a destination for international players because one, the weather, and two, it's just like depending on the the international player that's coming here. I shouldn't say I should clean that up because we got a lot of Cubans and
Thank you for cleaning that up. I was about to say what are you talking about?
It's not the destination for our players from the East to come in, like the South Koreans, the Japanese, the one from China. It's not the destination. They always prefer coastal cities or coastal teams for one because the weather's really good and it's easier flight to get home.
Yeah, I agree. So like what? So obviously everybody want a Shohei Ohtani on their squad. So what does the Chicago Cubs front office have to do to obtain a player of his capabilities?
So the Cubs actually probably have the best presentation pitch out there for free agency. It's been lauded the last two off season about the plan that Jay Hoyer throw out to these players, even if they don't sign. He sells the Chicago Cubs immediate and long term future way better than Theo did. And they got the state of the art technology that makes player better. They got the pitch lab, they got the the hitters lab. They got everything that's put in place to bring anybody over. And plus, the main thing is the money. But you go to these analysts and you talk to these other execs, they're trying to say it's not about the money. It's just he want to go to the winner. And I kind of get into it, a lot of casual fans in regards to this, if they're not really deep into baseball. Money is a factor. Money will draw anyone into, a club, no matter, it don't have to be winning. Because if you think about it, like Kenta Maeda playing for the Twins, who pitched today, he was a big-time pitcher from Japan, only want to play on coastal teams, went over to Boston, went over to L.A., now he's in Minnesota. What's in Minnesota?
A bunch of lakes.
Right, bunch of lakes. Kikuchi over in Toronto wanted to play for a coastal team, big arm from Japan, came in with Seattle, didn't hitch. Now he can't go to a coastal team. Now he in Toronto. So it's just like when the money's out there and the money's right, and you want to play this game or baseball, you're gonna come to a team that's gonna pay you.
And Ohtani know one thing. The most famous player for the Los Angeles Angels is old boy from Angels in the Outfield. So like if he's trying to win something, he gonna have to go somewhere else. And LA is just ain't it. I don't understand it how they have the best pitcher and the best hitter in terms of Mike Trout, and they just can't do anything or build around that properly. So we all know he's going somewhere else. But he can come to the Cubs. So if let's say, based on how we looking right now, how the Cubs are looking right now, Swanson has been a godsend. You cannot deny that. And then there are a lot of young pieces on this squad. Would Shohei make the Chicago Cubs a true contender for a World Series title?
Now, I can go and look at it like this. Yes, because of two reasons. He's bringing the impact bat that they desperately need. Swanson is a godsend, but he's not the impact bat that will actually get them to the next level. Swanson is a really great complementary player. He's like a number 3 hitting guy on a all-star squad. His defense brings a lot to the table to help you win games. And I'm starting to love this leadership that he has too.
Man.
So that's what win games. I was talking to somebody about Nico Horner before, but I'll get into that. But what the Cubs been looking for, they've been looking for the Chris Bryant type bat that can be consistent over a full season, that can put up an MVP, season and, clear the yard. We haven't had anyone that hit over 38 home runs since Kyle Schwarber, and I don't really like that guy. So, but
Kyle Schwarber, he's a champion. Shout out to him.
He's a champion for, I don't know from where, but up with the Cubs. All right. But yeah, so
I'm like, what you mean you don't know from where?
He didn't win nothing for us. But he brings that impact bat. And also we got that glaring hole that we haven't had an ace since John Lester. And John Lester really wasn't an ace. He was a number 2, number 3 complimentary starter, but he came in and pitched 3-4 beautiful years for the Cubs. Got us a championship, mentored a lot of guys, and kind of flamed out at the end. But Ohtani is this game-changing arm on both sides of the ball. He's coming up there and got the potential to hit you 40 to 50 home runs and also win you a Cy Young. So that's what I'm saying. He's killing 2 birds with 1 stone, actually.
Yeah, and you got to love it. And like I said, he's just wildly popular for even not just your avid baseball fans, not just your casual baseball fans, but just people in general notice the effect of Shohei Ohtani, kind of like it was for the NCAA women's with Caitlin Clark. Like people don't watch it. Yeah, they watch it but they was breaking records. You know what I'm saying? Like 9.5 million people watched the game between Iowa, the middle of the armpit of the middle of the armpit of America, and these guys had almost 10 million people watching them play. Not even the championship game. I think it was the Elite 8 game versus Louisville or the Final 4 game. Either way, that's what happens. And Ohtani has that same type of effect. People who don't watch baseball knows who he is. It's dope. I love to see it. My man pitches and he hits, and he don't just hit. He hit home runs. Shout out to him. He would look great in Cubby Blue, my guy.
Yeah. Man, think about it. You hear somebody saying, hey, come turn on TV. This guy just got 10 strikeouts and just hit a grand slam. Like you don't see like that. We just had a guy in a Division II college that just pitched a no-hitter and, had a cycle. Like those like that draws people to watch it because I guess this guy probably wouldn't even make it to the MLB, on a skill set coming from a school, a D2 school that probably don't have the challenges as a D1 or probably not have the strength of competition. But you hear about this stuff, man, he threw a no-hitter. He hit for a cycle. Let me go watch this game. There go watch it. It's a draw in. And and that's what Showtime bring. That's why his name's Showtime, because it's something different. You can liken him to Magic Johnson when he came in, 6'9" point guard, passing the ball. Like, we never seen this before. That's what Showtime Ohtani is.
Now, so Ohtani is so rare. Like you just don't see. Like you've seen pitchers who can hit. We've seen it throughout our lives. Like there are pitchers out there who would hit home runs, and even on the Cubs. Zambrano had a couple of joints where it was like he just won the game. Jake Arrieta as well. So just throughout history, you see pitchers who can hit, but it's just not the same. This dude is going to command a bag. So how much money do the Cubs have to spend, or any team really, to bring in a Showtime Shohei Ohtani?
Oh man, that's the $1 million question right now. Matter of fact, the $500 million question.
I was about to say the $1 million. Come on now.
Yeah, the $500 million question. Well, he already been rated, on his pitching side and also his hitting side. So they valued his arm, where it's at. And he's going into his age 29 season this year. He turned 29 in the summer. So he's coming in his pitching prime. So he got a lot of miles from Japan, but in the MLB, he don't have a lot of stress on his arm because a year and a half, he didn't pitch because of Tommy John surgery and he hit. So he worked on his hitting skills. So you think he going into his prime, man, he still got another level or another ceiling to hit on this. Mm-hmm. So they actually valued him at about like almost $280 million on the pitching side alone. And you talking about if he's doing 280, with somebody risk 8 years on the 280 on just his arm alone, they said yes. And you don't see that often for a pitcher, no matter what pitcher it is. You didn't even see it for Jacob deGrom, the guy that have a sub, 180 ERA the last 3-4 years. He didn't even get, more than 5 years.
How much did Verlander get?
Oh, Verlander, he only did a 3-year deal, but it was short.
His last contract with Detroit. I think he had signed like a really crazy deal, like when he was the best pitcher in MLB.
Yeah, I think it's 242. I think it was around 242 for 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
But like right now, the way the pitching is trending, a lot of Tommy John coming up. A lot of time pitchers are missing a lot of time, and you see what Detroit did to get him out of that last contract. They, the last 4 years of Verlander contract was trash. He was like a trash pitcher, and they tried to get him out, and he reinvented himself. But that's a really big risk if you value somebody and you tell a team, and they not even thinking about it. They say, yes, I signed him for 8 years, 280. Then the hitting side, they value him at around about like 310 to maybe 340 for 10 years on that. When you combine that, it's about $5 million. I'm thinking $500 million.
500, because it gotta be, because he's going to have a bidding war. And somebody gonna be like, you know what? Give him all of it. Give him everything.
So now I look at it like this. He's not gonna get $500 million. He's gonna get 4. He's gonna get a strong 4, maybe a couple of ticks over. I say probably like maximum 405, 410. Somebody throw it out there. Because one, I was looking at the highest paid contract out is right now is Mookie Betts. He got the highest value contract. And you look at what Showtime brings, and you think about it, is he's a better hitter than Mookie Betts? Probably maybe edge him out, not really, but you got to look at what Mookie brings. But then you also got to bring that pitcher side in. You got a guy that can contend in the top 5 Cy Young every year. Up until then, you got a guy that can contend in the top 5 MVP possibly every year. So I said, okay,
what he 420. He getting 420 at least.
Yeah, man, I want to say it was 4, 5, 410 because they're gonna say I can see the separation versus him and Mookie Betts by 50, 60 million dollars. I can see that separation because one, the fans you bringing over, the potential because there's a lot of great Japanese players that's ready.
You're talking about millions of fans.
Millions of fans you're going to bring to your organization. 2, you got what I just said, contending to be top 5 Cy Young, top 5 MVP. That as long as he stay healthy, and you got and he's going into his age 30. He'll start the season off at 29. He don't turn 30 to mid-season, so he's not even really playing through his whole age 30 season. You can count it as age 29 sitting in 2024. But the only reason why I say that, you got a lot of guys coming after him that's going to need contracts. You got Soto over in San Diego, who still haven't got his contract situation settled. He hasn't got a extension. So if you're going to look at the hitter, Ohtani, and you giving him a $500 million contract, now how are you going to separate that and justify that to Soto? Like, hey, you can't get 420 because you don't pitch. But dude, I am literally 7 years younger than this guy.
But that matters. You don't pitch, my dude. You don't. It's like the NBA. Like, hey, you're a great center, but you don't stretch the floor. Like, you got centers that's shooting and taking and making 35, 40% of their threes, and you ain't doing it. So I'm gonna need you to step your game up, my guy.
No, it's hard. When you do it like the center thing, you take center A. Center A is 24 years old. Center A averaged 35 points a game and 15 rebounds, but he don't hit 3. Then you got center B. That's 30, hitting in his prime, have the potential to hit 35 points a game, but haven't met it yet. But he's doing 25 points a game, averaging 9 points. But he, like you said, he's stretching the floor. He's giving you another facet of the game that can get him over the level offensively. Are you giving the center B $40 million and center A $20 million? Or are you giving them both the same amount?
Bro, like, you talking about a unicorn. Like, Soto is great. He is, but Shohei is doing double duty, bro. Like, it's not like, and honestly, like the NBA analogies, it's a little weak because double duty, bro. Like, you going out there and you trying to get 20 outs, as a pitcher, and then you also trying to carry the game offensively, sometimes in the same game.
Well, look at it like this. I'm not a Ohtani hit. I was mad when Vlad Guerrero didn't get 2021 MVP. I still think he should have got 21 MVP because one, Ohtani was the Angels pitching him every 6 days, and putting them against, weaker competition in the AL West. Pretty much kind of giving them soft layups, right? But you're right. The preparation to pitch and mentally hit is just a different level. But when you go out there and you ask a player that, all right, this guy's a DH. He can work on his. He don't even have to think about in between innings.
He don't got to play defense. That's the only thing. He don't got to play defense.
But you don't have to. You know why a lot of guys don't like playing DH? Eloy is one guy because it's so between their bats. You only getting 4 at bats. Three maybe if you getting shut out and you're not and your team not getting hits. But in between those at bats, you going probably like 2 to 3 innings doing nothing. So Showtime can literally think about pitching during that time and then go out there and say, hey, I can go out there and hit a home run. Or let me look at this on this because my bat is coming up. So it's a little bit different mentality when you go out there wise when you're hitting. But you're right. It's nothing you can do. It's a different game. Like Alec Manoah in Toronto said it best. He's like, dude, me and him faced each other. We both can go out there and throw 100 pitches. After the game, what I'm doing arm care. This guy's leading off the next game, hitting home runs. And he's like, this crazy. But then again, how are you going to quantify him? How are you going to separate him versus any other hitter when it comes up to, all right, I'm just going to throw all this cash? But then you got, Soto to say, hey, I'm a former MVP. I'm a former World Series champion. I got a career 450 on base percentage. I got a career 315 batting average. I play 155 games. Why I don't get that much? Because I don't pitch. That's what you're gonna face. So
because you don't pitch.
yeah, but I don't think pitching is such a mixed bag, man. It's such a mixed bag because you can have any given day. You can just go out there and just get the yips. You can lose your grip.
Yeah.
You can have a trash year. You can get injured. It's just it's so many variables that can affect you as pitching that that can take away your value overall. And I'm not saying it's going to happen to Ohtani because I think he haven't hit that second gear yet because he haven't hit his prime in pitching yet. But I just don't think he's going to get this landmark 500 million. He's going to get the landmark 400 because that's what baseball trending. It's gonna be $400 million contract. You're gonna get at least 2 in the next 2 years.
He getting 420. But all right, man, we're gonna wrap it up. Shohei Ohtani possibly could be on the north side of Chicago as early as next season. That would be dope. He would bring so many things to the team, hitting, pitching, and fans and exposure and all types. And not like the Cubs need more exposure than they already get. Everybody loves the Cubs. I blame Bozo and WGN, but that's a whole nother conversation. But hey, y'all already see at the bottom, phone number 773-389-6954. Hit us with the voicemail. Let us know what you think about maybe Shohei Ohtani joining this squad. And then you can hit us up on the email, ChicagoBaseballCentral@gmail.com. It say Steve-O Speaks. I was supposed to change the name. I ain't do it, but y'all already know how we write down on the Central channels. I'm your host, Big Bro. And we got Pacman right here in the building on Chicago White Sox and Chicago Cubs Central. We gonna holler at y'all next time. Hey, peace. Hold on, let me find the music real quick. There you go. Peace.
Welcome to the #1 place for all Chicago baseball. Let's start the show.